This video is not for me, it's for you. Here is how to finally be happy from a psychology student.
Everybody knows that the dice are loaded. Everybody rolls with their fingers crossed. Everybody knows the war is over. Everybody knows the good guys lost. Everybody knows the fight was fixed. The poor stay poor, the rich get rich. That's how it goes. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
I was bored, overwhelmed, okay? Ever since I can remember, I was always just struggling with being overwhelmed, stressed, and super duper anxious. Always, all the time. Being a perfectionist, introvert, ADHD, getting bullied and picked on, having to deal with family crisis 24/7. I mean, of course, back then, while I was going through all of that, I didn't know, I couldn't understand what was actually happening to me. For I was literally on survival mood all days of the week, technically. But day by day, the more I grew up, the more curious I got, asking myself, why do I feel the way I feel and what can I do about it? That's actually one of the main reasons why I decided to study psychology. And so eventually, after 23 years of just wandering around, now I know. I'm gonna be honest, coming up and gathering all this information and putting it all into just one YouTube video was not an easy process, honestly. But nevertheless, I'm here to give you the most science-based reasons and solutions regarding anxiety and being overwhelmed. Okay, so without any more gabbering, let's dive into the unknown galaxy of surviving the universe. It can be hard staying productive on a normal day. And when overwhelm is hovering around, it's that much more of a challenge, really. But there are ways to get through it. So if you want to learn how to stay productive when you're feeling overwhelmed, well then, you're in the right place. What is a short-term overwhelm? What does it mean? I don't know. I mean, I know, but you don't know. So I'm gonna tell you. You may feel like you're drowning, but it's only for a brief period of time. You can see the lifeguard coming to save you, and you know that everything will soon be happy and back to normal. Sometimes, even though that I feel like I need to keep going, I take a break. Honestly, I just take a break. Maybe I should take a break now. It doesn't have to be long necessarily. It just needs to be meaningful. That's what matters. It could be a few minutes, an hour, or longer than that, depending. The duration of the break does not follow a specific timeline. I rest until I feel rested. Then, having recouped my energy, I tackle my tasks with renewed focus, attention, and patience. Okay, now, what does a long-term overwhelm looks like? Any idea? The other type of overwhelm is long-term overwhelm. In this scenario, you feel overwhelmed most days, basically. And when looking towards the future, you see that relief is a far way off, if even visible at all. Contrary to the short-term overwhelm described earlier, in my own case, for example, this long-term overwhelm did not have an end date. You know what I mean? It was an infinity pool of stress, and there was surely an end to it, but it just wasn't clear to me. That's the point. It just wasn't at all. Now, another question would be how to be productive when you're overwhelmed. Well, the short answer would be go to the next step mode. I knew I needed to stay productive. If I didn't, the juggling act would stop and the balls would drop. Plus, I'm sure that someone would surely throw a pie in my face. Because my life is just I'm lucky, I'm just that lucky. And those weren't the stakes I was going to risk. My dear sweet grandma got cancer, and I was failing all my classes, and while everyone in my family was a mess, we had to take care of one another, and we also needed a lot of money for my grandma's treatments. However, I needed to take a different approach than before, because if I applied the same strategy for short-term overwhelm, which was taking a break, I would have never get anything done at all. At all. I would be stuck in an endless loop of rest. And that just wouldn't do. So instead, I went into the next step mode. I'll provide more detail on that in a moment. But basically, next step mode means to focus on the next best step you can take, whatever that is in front of you. I knew if I kept thinking about everything I had to do, I would drive myself insane. So instead, I decided to only focus on what was directly in front of me. Not to worry about the classes I needed to take or on the YouTube videos I needed to edit. I would only concern myself with whatever was next. I focused on the one thing that was most important in that moment. I put all my attention towards that one task. Then, and only then, once the task was finished and done, would I consider what the next step was from there. Do not stare at the mountain. Dealing with long-term overwhelm is not fun. Short-term overwhelm is certainly easier to manage. But with next step mode, I was able to greatly mitigate the crippling feelings of stress and frustration. It may seem like just a mindset shift, as in think positive, but it's not. Not real. No, not even close. It's actionable. All right? It's actually actionable. If you're a planner like me, you're likely to feel the need to map out your future, or at least a version of it. But when there's too much going on, those plans can suddenly feel like chaos. So instead of looking long term, you need to turn your attention to what's in front of you, the next possible step you can take. It's like climbing a mountain. If you stare at the peak the whole time, it's only gonna feel that much further away. But if you look down at your feet, when you next look up, you'll be able to see just how much closer you are. How to be productive when you are overwhelmed moving forward. This is super duper important. Listen, okay? Are you listening? Are you listening? Be aware of the kind of overwhelm you're experiencing. Is it only gonna last for like 1 day or two? Or is it more long lasting with no clear end in sight? Decide that for yourself and then try out the strategies that was discussed earlier. Take a break, recharge, and then go back to it. Or look down at your shoes and take one positive step forward at a time. Some days I run out of breath as if I'm standing on the moon and there's no oxygen left for me to inhale. And the only thing I can do is to watch. I listen to the noise of people in the streets and alleys. Everything happens in slow motion. I don't know where I come from and I don't know where to go. I don't know who to hate and I don't know who to keep. But I speak up, and so should you if you're still here. So please do not give up until it's over, 'cause the night will pass and we will get older. Hey you stranger, just in case you're listening to this, wanted you to know that I love you for accompanying me so far, and I will see you again in just a few days. So please take care of yourself and make sure that you get good enough sleep, okay? Alright, see you just in a few days. Take care. Bye bye, bitch.